Hi, my name is Sky, yes, double Y, and welcome to my channel, Sky Explains It All, or if you've already been here before, welcome back. Today's video, you guys, I want to talk about Sucker Punch, the 2011 fantasy/action film that was released, and it starred Emily Browning as the main character, Baby Doll. I want to talk about what I think the movie is actually about. The movie, upon its initial release when it came out in the year 2011, I remember that era when it was released, and the reception was awful. People said that the movie was bad, nothing about it was good, it was weird, it didn't make sense. And hearing all of these things, I was like, well, if the movie is that bad, then I'm not even going to bother seeing it. So I never actually saw the movie. I remember even my friend loaning me her DVD of Sucker Punch, and I'm not exaggerating, I had that thing for maybe a year and never once popped it in because I was like, I just didn't feel like wasting my time because it's about 2 hours long. And I'm like, if the movie's bad, then I'm not going to bother watching it. And I remember even my friend saying, well, you see, I never asked for the DVD back. In her eyes and most people's eyes, it was not a very good film. Maybe a month ago, maybe a month and a half, I saw that Sucker Punch was on YouTube for free. So I'm like, okay, let me see what this movie is about. I watched it and I immediately understood what was going on in this movie. I picked up on the theme immediately. I picked up on the story immediately, and it broke my heart because this movie is literally about a young girl, Baby Doll, creating a dream world to deal with the trauma of her reality. This whole movie is about this poor girl dissociating the entire time she's in this asylum, which she's already placed into unjustly. Her mother's died, was taken out by her. The way it's presented, it seems like he's her stepfather and not her biological father, but that's just my assumption. Mom's dead. Her little sister has died. She's unjustly into this mental ward where these other women are being abused, and we see the transition from when she first enters the ward and when she's finally in there. We see this shift in the look of the movie. It goes from being dark and muddy to being super colorful, saturated, and the girls, they're all polished and their hair is done and their makeup's done and they have glitter on their face, and it's very pretty to look at. She's dissociating, creating this reality that her situation is better than what it actually is, because this is just how she's coping with dealing with her situation. But what makes it even more tragic, everyone always says you have to see Baby Doll dance. Baby Doll is an amazing dancer. So she dances, and when she begins to dance, we never see her actually doing a little 1-2 step or any choreography or anything. What happens is we end up in these very fantasy worlds, almost like a superhero movie or a anime or something, where she's fighting villain and she's being victorious. And so immediately, with all the other seeds that I've planted in the movie up until this point, it's clear that her quote unquote dancing is when she's being sexually abused. That's literally what's happening. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's not meant to be ambiguous. It's heavily implied that when these things are happening, whenever she's dancing, that's when she's being violated sexually. And it's so sad because I picked up on it right away. And I knew immediately what was happening, and it broke my heart. And what makes it so sad for several reasons. One, in her dissociated mind, she is quote unquote dancing. There's an audience. So that means there are people, A, who are watching it happen, B, who are partaking with the actual acts themselves as well, C, they may not be partaking in them, but they see it happening and they don't do anything about it. Or D, they're unfortunately also the victims and they can't do anything about it. So it just was mind-boggling to me. I was like, oh my God, this movie is so freaking depressing and heartbreaking. And the girl's already dissociating to make her life appear better than what it is in her mind, to simply survive the hellhole that she's in. But she has to go deeper into her dissociation when the freaking abuse starts happening, by turning herself into a superhero who's victorious to create some sense of false control that she will be the victor in the end, when in reality, she is being abused. Oh my God, this movie is very dark. It's very heavy. I understand why the film was presented in this way, tell this kind of story, because I think if it hadn't been so stylized, so visually appealing, like, you know, like I said, with the saturated colors and then the makeup and it looking like almost like a cool, like anime type video game. If it had been done literally, the audience, people would have not been able to watch it. In my opinion, it would have been almost to the point where it's unwatchable. If they did it literally, I feel like it would have had the same kind of vibe as those 1970s films. Like if you've ever seen The Last House on the Left or Straw Dogs, that would have been hard to watch and it would have probably developed more of like a cult following. I think it's the ambiguity of it all that makes it more digestible to be able to watch, but it doesn't take away from the heaviness of the situation that's happening when you, like I said, actually realize what's happening. I commend the people who created this movie for doing it in that way, because certain movies like that, when they actually show us stuff, it gets to the point where I feel like it's like who is this for? You know what I mean? Like certain stuff like that, when it's shown in abundance like that, I'm like, okay, who's the audience for? Like who's actually enjoying watching this? So I think that the way they presented it is a little more tasteful, in my opinion. This movie, Sucker Punch, was similar to Jennifer's Body in the fact that it was marketed so terribly, because the 2010s era, looking back now that I'm older, anytime it's a movie with like an attractive, pretty young woman or something, they immediately start trying to market those kind of things to like straight young men. And it's like, just because a girl's pretty doesn't mean that women can't be the target audience. To drop the ball with marketing this movie, because y'all are always, at least at this time, we're directing this movie at the wrong people. This is not meant to be a movie about hot chicks beating up supervillains. This is clearly about a young woman, and not just Baby Doll, but all those girls dealing with the reality that they're in, where they have no power, they're being taken advantage of. And from what is shown in the movie, it's giving the vibe of like some sort of trafficking ring with the women in the facility. It's heavy stuff. So I'm glad that I never actually watched it when I was younger, because I don't think I would have had the same understanding and appreciation of what the story was actually about. I may have probably thought it was like, oh, I don't get what that's about. Like, that's kind of weird. But because I've lived some life and understand things a lot better now I'm older, I'm able to appreciate it. And it's honestly kind of become one of my favorite movies. Like I said, it's heavy, so it's not something that I can watch on a regular basis, but I did like the movie. And what I will say is I feel like I just deprived myself for over a decade of this killer soundtrack. The soundtrack for the movie is freaking amazing. Like, it's bop after bop after bop. I was like, oh my God, where has this been my whole life? And even the score for the movie is so like, it's melancholic, it's haunting, created an amazing piece of art. And it's unfortunate that the reception for it was not what it deserved. But I'm just here to say now that this movie is great. That's what I want to talk about today, is Sucker Punch and my thoughts on what I think the movie is about. If you like this video, like it. If you're enjoying the content I make here, please subscribe. I would very much so love to have you here. And also leave me a comment down below. Were you someone who saw Sucker Punch when it was released in 2011? And when it was, did you like it? Did you dislike it? Please leave it down in the comments below. Thank you guys so very much for watching. And until next time, I have to return some videotapes. Bye guys.